Good evening, students. I already posted one video on lungs, and now another important viscera of the thorax is the heart. So I repeatedly tell you not to come without preparing the heart in your theory as well as in practical examination. Whenever you are asked to pick up the heart and to hold the heart in anatomical position, what you will do? Just you picked up the heart, then examiner or your teacher may ask you, what is this? What is this specimen in your hand? Most of the students they answer, sir, this is heart. But actually, is it so? What should be the actual answer? Actually, you must say, sir, this is the heart with pericardium and great vessels. In some viscera, you will see the pericardium is attached to this. So, sir, this is the heart with great vessels, or heart with pericardium and great vessels, like this. Not only it is the heart. Then you have to hold the heart in anatomical position. Before that, you must know the different parts so that you can hold it. One of the part is the apex. Is the tapering part. This one is the apical part or apex. And opposite to the apex is the base. This one, posterior side, or called posterior surface. Posterior surface or base. And this one is the diaphragmatic surface, because this surface is resting on the central part of the diaphragm. So diaphragmatic surface. And this surface is called sternocostal surface. This is behind the sternum and third, fourth and fifth and sixth, these four ribs. So sternocostal surface. So three surfaces. This is sternocostal, this is diaphragmatic, and this is left lateral surface. And the base also, or posterior side or base also considered as another surface. So in that case, you may say there are four surfaces, otherwise mainly three surfaces. And the apex will direct downwards, forwards and laterally. This is the apex. So downwards, forwards and laterally and to the left. So on your palm of the hand, you keep the diaphragmatic surface on the palm so that this apex, it is facing downwards, to some extent forwards and laterally and to the left. So this is the position of the heart. And how to identify I can hold it like this, is the apex. Is it right? No. Why? Because this is the arch of the aorta and in front of it the pulmonary trunk. I am showing you the pulmonary trunk. This is pulmonary trunk. This one is pulmonary trunk. So pulmonary trunk always will be in front of the aorta. This is aorta and this is pulmonary trunk. So it should be in front. If I hold it like this, now it becomes posterior. So keeping in mind the relative position of the aorta and the pulmonary trunk, you have to hold the heart in this way so that apex looking toward this side and pulmonary trunk will be in front of the aorta and the base looking towards right side and posteriorly. So this is the anatomical position of the heart. Next question is, what are the dimension of the heart? Dimension means length, breadth, thickness, weight, all these things. The length about 12 centimeter, breadth about, in the maximum breadth, 8 to 9 centimeter, and this thickness is about 6 centimeter. 6, 9, 12. Very simple. And the weight, it differs from male and female. In male, it is slightly heavier than in females. In males, it is about 280 grams to 350 grams. Average weight 300 grams. And in female, it is 230 grams to 280 grams. Average weight is 250 grams. So just 50 grams difference between male and female in weight. And what is this glistening part? It is glistening. This glistening part is the visceral layer of serous pericardium, which is also called the epicardium. Here, the epicardium, it is stripped off in this area, so it is not glistening now. But here it is glistening. That means epicardium is here, is there. But some other places, the epicardium is stripped off. So what is epicardium? If you are asked, your answer will be, it is the visceral layer of serous pericardium, because pericardium having two layers mainly, fibrous and serous. Fibrous outside, serous inside. Serous again having two layers, inside visceral, outside parietal. And visceral layer of serous pericardium, it is intimately attached with the outer layer of the heart. So this epicardium, it forms a part of the heart. And other parts of the heart wall, epicardium, and then myocardium and endocardium. These three layers of the heart are there. If you get a cut section of the heart, and what are the layers of the heart, if you are asked, your answer will be from outside inwards is the epicardium, then myocardium, then endocardium. So mostly the heart is formed by the muscle. Then what are the surfaces and what are the borders and what are the grooves in the heart? Very frequently asked. And I am holding the viscera like this. This is one important venous opening is there. Can you see the superior venacle opening? This is inferior venacle opening. They are continuous and it is passing through the right atrium of the heart. So this is right atrium actually. So if you draw a line from the right border of the superior vena cava to inferior vena cava, this is called the right border of the heart. This is the right border of the heart. This is the position of the heart. So this is right side, right border of the heart. From that point to the apex, this one, this is the position. So that should be inferior border of the heart. So right border from superior to inferior vena cava. So inferior border from inferior vena cava opening to the apex, the inferior border. And from the apex to the left auricle. Left auricle is this. This is the auricle. Looks like the ear. So the name is auricle or left appendage. So from the apex to this appendage, it is not very distinct border. It is called the left border. So mainly three borders: right, inferior, and left. Sometimes students make a mistake. If they are asked what is the base, they know this is the base. But it is not the base, it is a diaphragmatic surface. Base is this one. This posterior surface is the base, opposite to the apex. Very common mistake. So there are mainly three borders: right border, inferior border, and left border. So right border, it separates this surface from this surface. This inferior border, this one, it separates this sternocostal surface from the diaphragmatic surface. Left border, it separates the left surface or left lateral surface from the sternocostal surface. Posterior is the base or posterior surface. Here I will tell you how you will demarcate the borders of the base. I am coming to that point. You know, this is right atrium and this is right ventricle. And in the right atrium, there is one ear-like appendage. This one, it is called the right auricle or right appendage. And from superior vena cava to inferior vena cava opening, there is a sulcus or groove called sulcus terminalis. Deep to the sulcus terminalis, inside the atrium, there will be a ridge. That is called crista terminalis. A crest-like, so it is called crista terminalis, from where the musculature of the right atrium arises, and these muscles are called musculi pectinity, because the arrangement of this muscle looks like the comb. So the name is musculi pectinity. But on the left side, there is also another appendage called left auricle or left appendage, but here there is no sulcus terminalis and no crista terminalis, but musculi pectinity is there. So you will get musculi pectinity inside the appendage, both right auricle and left auricle, but sulcus terminalis and inside it crista terminalis are present only on the right auricle, not on the left auricle. This is the difference. And in between the right atrium and left atrium, there should be a partition that is called the interatrial septum. Where septum is there, this is one septum, this is right atrium, this is left atrium. So this is interatrial septum. So on the wall, where the septum is attached, along this line, outside you will get a groove. That groove is called the interatrial groove, one anteriorly and one posteriorly. This is a septum, so anteriorly one groove, posteriorly another groove called anterior interatrial groove and posterior interatrial groove. So this groove outside corresponds to the line of attachment of the interatrial septum. But in the heart, you cannot see this groove properly in the anterior side because of overlapping of the pulmonary trunk or root of the great vessels. You cannot see properly. And between the atrium and ventricle, there is a groove. That groove called atrioventricular groove. Between the right atrium and right ventricle, atrioventricular groove. Between the left atrium and left ventricle, also called atrioventricular groove. But in the middle part, this atrioventricular groove is not visible because of this root of the pulmonary trunk. But when you trace posteriorly or inferiorly, this groove comes to the posterior side and from this side also and form a continuous groove between the atrium and the ventricle. So it looks like this, my finger, this C-shaped. This is the gap. This is a continuous groove between the atrium and ventricle. So C-shaped atrioventricular groove, posteriorly complete one, but anteriorly only right part and left part. This is the right part and this is the left part. Middle part it is obscured by the pulmonary trunk. And another groove between the right ventricle and left ventricle is called interventricular groove. One anterior and one inferior or posterior. In this groove, here is a groove. Along this groove, if you see the inside, there will be the interventricular septum. So this anterior and posterior interventricular groove will be there along the line of attachment of the interventricular septum. And this interventricular septum, interventricular groove, anteriorly and posteriorly, will contain some structures. I am telling you what are the structures in different groups. And posteriorly, I told you this one, atrioventricular groove, also called the coronary sulcus, because it lodges the coronary sinus and the right and left coronary artery anastomosis. Now again, I am holding the heart in this position. Now you see, this is the ascending aorta, then becomes arch of the aorta. After ascending aorta, it is glistening because the serous pericardium extends up to the ascending aorta. And from the ascending aorta, there are two major arteries arising, one going towards the right side, one towards the left side. The right sided artery is called right coronary artery from the anterior aortic sinus, and from the left posterior aortic sinus, the left coronary artery. So if you are asked what are the branches from the ascending aorta or what are the main arterial supply of the heart, your answer will be right coronary artery and left coronary artery. Right coronary artery from the anterior aortic sinus, left coronary artery from the left posterior aortic sinus. Right posterior aortic sinus gives rise to no branch, so it is called non-coronary sinus. And when the right coronary artery goes like this along the groove, which groove? The right part of atrioventricular groove, right part of anterior atrioventricular groove, right coronary artery, along it one vein. There is a small cardiac vein. And this artery is winding around this right border, inferior border, is going posteriorly in the posterior atrioventricular groove. And here it gives a branch which runs along the posterior interventricular groove. That is called posterior interventricular artery. So posterior interventricular artery is a branch of the right coronary artery. And it is accompanied by a vein called middle cardiac vein. And from the left coronary artery, the artery also passes along the anterior left part of the atrioventricular groove. That atrioventricular groove anteriorly placed but left part. This is the right part. And here the left coronary artery is passing through this and gives the first branch, that is the anterior interventricular artery, which is accompanied by another vein called great cardiac vein. And this anterior interventricular artery goes inferiorly up toward the apex. Here there is a notch called incisura apicis cordis, which is just right to the apex. Then it passes like this and going inferiorly to anastomose with the artery that is called posterior interventricular artery. So this is posterior interventricular artery, and from anteriorly the artery coming like this, anterior interventricular artery. So anastomosis is occurring here. The anastomosis, it occurs on the inferior surface here, not on this surface. But apex, it is a part of the left ventricle. But the incisura apicis cordis, here it is just right to the apex. And this artery, which is going along this groove and passing posteriorly along the posterior atrioventricular groove, that is the circumflex artery or circumflex branch of left coronary artery. So circumflex branch of left coronary artery and the right coronary artery anastomose here in the posterior atrioventricular groove or coronary sulcus. Here there is a meeting point of interventricular groove, interatrial groove and the atrioventricular groove, right side and left side. That point is called the crus of the heart. Crus. So it is the meeting point of all the grooves on the posterior side or on the posterior atrioventricular groove or coronary sulcus at that point. Then sometimes it is asked that which part of the heart forms a particular surface or particular border. If I tell you the base is found only by the atrium, 2/3 by the left atrium, 1/3 by the right atrium. Apex, it is formed only by the left ventricle. This one. Sternocostal surface, it is formed only by the two ventricles, right ventricle and left ventricle. Inferior surface, it is formed only by the two ventricles. So two ventricles, inferior surface, two ventricles, sternocostal surface, base or posterior surface by the both atrium, right border by the right atrium, inferior border by the right ventricle. These are the different parts of the heart formed by the either by the two ventricles or two atria or single ventricle or single atria. Then how much heart is on the left side? About 2/3 of the heart on the left side and 1/3 on the right side. Then may be asked, the sternocostal surface, its contribution from the right part of the heart and left part of the heart, how much? To remember this, if I show you this thing, this one, this is my left hand, which is the left atrium and left ventricle, right hand, right atrium and right ventricle. And I am keeping my right hand on the left hand, but the finger of the left hand, it is outside, this one. So this is the apex, this is the left hand or left ventricle. So apex is found only by the left ventricle. And posteriorly, you see here the left atrium, this is right atrium. So this is the base or posterior surface. So 2/3 by the left atrium, 1/3 by the right atrium is the base. If you see anteriorly, the sternocostal surface, you can see the dorsum 2/3 and this is 1/3. Can you see 1/3 part, 2/3 part? So sternocostal surface is formed 2/3 by the right ventricle, 1/3 by the left ventricle, and opposite to that, just reverse. The inferior surface, 2/3 by this left ventricle, 1/3 by the right ventricle. So in this way, you can remember or you can study at your home with by your two hands how much part of the ventricle and atrium contributing to different surfaces and different parts of the heart. The last part is the base or posterior part. Here you will get the openings of 4 pulmonary veins. I am showing you the opening of 4 pulmonary veins. I have shown you the opening of superior and inferior vena cava. Now I am showing you the pulmonary veins opening. The opening for pulmonary vein, opening of pulmonary vein, opening of pulmonary vein. Can you see? There are 4 pulmonary veins are there. So this is the part of the base or posterior surface. So below by this atrioventricular groove, right margin between the superior and inferior vena cava opening, and left margin by the superior inferior pulmonary veins, and above by the bifurcation of the pulmonary trunk. This part is the base or posterior surface. And another thing sometimes asked, this left atrium, it forms the anterior boundary of the oblique sinus, and behind the aorta and pulmonary trunk, if you introduce your finger like this, my finger is in the transverse sinus, transverse pericardial sinus. This is a sinus or gap in the serous pericardium, and this space is the transverse sinus. Can you see the space? This is my hand, finger. So anteriorly, the sinus formed by the pulmonary trunk, the aorta, and posteriorly by the left atrium. So when a ligature is given on the aorta or pulmonary trunk, this space is used. This is applied importance. And this aorta, when ascending upward from the arch of the aorta, and from there 3 important branches arising. It is also asked when you are asked to hold the heart in position. That also asked what are the branches. The branches are from right to left, brachiocephalic trunk, left common carotid going to supply the head, neck and brain, and left subclavian artery going to supply the left superior extremity, and this brachiocephalic trunk, it again divides into right common carotid and right subclavian. Sometimes the students mistakes that the 3 branches are the right brachiocephalic trunk, left common carotid artery, left subclavian, but no such right and left brachiocephalic trunk. Brachiocephalic trunk only one. So only one means only brachiocephalic trunk, no right brachiocephalic, no left brachiocephalic. So brachiocephalic trunk, left common carotid, left subclavian, right common carotid and right subclavian, they are the branches from the brachiocephalic trunk. So at the end I can tell you the important points which are usually asked, that is first of all how to hold the heart in anatomical position, and secondly what is the specimen. It is a specimen of heart with great vessels, with or without pericardium, and thirdly the different parts of presentation like apex, base, borders, surfaces, and different groups and the content of different groups. The different groups are there: interatrial group, interventricular groups, and anterior interventricular, posterior interventricular, then right part of atrioventricular, left part of atrioventricular, and the posterior atrioventricular or coronary sulcus. And all these groups contain important structures. So if you are asked what are the contents of the different groups, you don't forget to remember at least 3 important groups, and that groups are anterior interventricular group, which contains anterior interventricular branch of left coronary artery and great cardiac vein, and posterior interventricular group, which contains the posterior interventricular artery, branch of right coronary artery and middle cardiac vein, and posterior atrioventricular group or coronary sulcus contains the coronary sinus and the anastomosis of right and left coronary artery, and the different branches of the ascending aorta like the right coronary artery and left coronary artery, and different branches of the arch of the aorta like brachiocephalic trunk, left common carotid and left subclavian. So I think this is the general features which are usually asked in the examination, and interior part I will tell you in other day, but these things you must remember, and if you have any query you can ask me in my comment box. So that's all. Thank you for today. Click on the like button and of course subscribe it and share to your friends. Thank you.